Hello everyone, welcome back to the Bay classes. Today we are going to solve few more questions based on loop. So till now we have solved till question number 34 and now today we are going to solve from question number 35. So let us move to question number 35 in your printed notebooks. And you can see the question is write a program to print Fibonacci series. So what is this Fibonacci? So Fibonacci series starts from 0, 1. And now the next number is 0 plus 1, 1. Next number is 1 plus 1, 2. Next number is 2 plus 1, 3. Then 3 plus 2, 5. 5 plus 3, 8. 8 plus 5, 13. 13 plus 8, 21. 21 plus 13, 34. And like this, it will continue. And it is an infinite series. It is an infinite series. It never ends. So you get the third number by adding the first two. The fourth by adding the previous two. 3 by adding the previous two. 5 again by adding the previous two. So the previous two numbers will generate the third number. And this is how it continues. And it continues infinite. There is no limit. So for your board exam, Fibonacci is a very important series. You will get a question to generate Fibonacci numbers. Maybe the first 10 Fibonacci numbers. Or it will ask you to print all the Fibonacci numbers till 30. Till 30 means you have to print till 21. Or the first 5 Fibonacci numbers. So the first 5 Fibonacci numbers are 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. These are the first 5 Fibonacci numbers. Whatever may be the question, first you need to understand what is Fibonacci number or what is Fibonacci series and how to write a normal Fibonacci program. So let us write a program to generate first 5 Fibonacci numbers. So it is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. These are the first Fibonacci numbers. Let the first Fibonacci number be A and the second be B. Now our job is to create the third one, that is C. So how can you create C? By adding A and B. So 0 plus 1 you will get 1. Now next step what we will do, we will make this A, make this B so that we will get the new C. So now A is 1, B is 1 and C is A plus B. This formula will always remain same. C is again A plus B. So 1 plus 1, this time we will get 2. Next time what we will do, this will become A, this will become B, so that we will get C. So this time 1 plus 2 will get 3. So this is how a Fibonacci program works. So for this first I will write a program and then I am going to explain you how the program is working. So I have already created a class whose name is chapter 6 question number 35. Public void DNM, and here I am entering the value n. In the question it has asked to print the Fibonacci series 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5 like this till n terms. N terms means how many? N terms mean how many? 5. So 5 terms means it will print 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. First 5 Fibonacci. First 5 means we tell it as first 5 terms. Okay. So here it is n, it can be anything. For now we are only doing the first 5. So first what we will do, we will declare 3 variables A, B, where we will store 1 and C. So A and B contains the first 2 Fibonacci. You have to store the first 2 Fibonacci numbers directly, that is 0 and 1. C, we are going to create the third number. Till now we have not created the third number. So now what we will do, we'll print the first 2 Fibonacci. Print A and again we'll print the next one, that is present in B. Now we'll take a for loop. For int I equal to 3, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. So why I have taken 3? Because the first and second terms are already there. You have already printed them. First and second we have already printed them. We are going to start from the third one till n. If n is 5, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And now we'll create the third number. How to create the third number? That is adding the first two numbers, a plus b. So we got the third number. Now we are going to print the third number. System.out.println C. Now what we'll do, we'll keep the value of b in a and the value of c in b. And this is the end of the program. I will run this program for you. We'll check if the program is correct. Then I'm going to explain you how is this working. For the first 5 Fibonacci numbers. See, we are getting the first Fibonacci numbers 0, 1, 1, 2 and 3. Let us print the first 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are getting the desired answer. Now I am going to explain you how this program is working. Let n equal to 7. Means we are going to print the first 7 Fibonacci numbers. And the first 7 Fibonacci numbers are 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So we are going to print till 8. So n is 7. We have a as 0 and b as 1 and we have c as 0. We are printing a and b directly. So it will print 0 and 1. Means the first two Fibonacci numbers are done. Now we are going to start from 3. 3 less than equal to 7? True. We'll go inside. C equal to a plus b. So the value of c is 1. Print c. It will print 1. That is the third Fibonacci number. Then a equal to b. Means in a, b value will be stored. So it will become 1. B equal to c. In b, c value will be stored. The b will become 1. Then I plus plus, I value becomes 4. 4 less than equal to 7? True. A plus b. What is a? 1. What is b? 1. 1 plus 1. So the new value of c is 2. We'll print 2. That is nothing but the fourth Fibonacci term. A equal to b. This will become 1. B equal to c. It will become 2. Then again I plus plus, I value becomes 5. 5 less than equal to 7. True. C equal to a plus b. That is 1 plus 2. It will become 3. It will print 3. A equal to b. This will become 2. B equal to c. This will become 3. I plus plus. This will become 6. 6 less than equal to 7. True. A plus b. That is 2 plus 3. That is 5. New value of c is 5. It will print 5. That is nothing but the sixth term. Then a equal to b. This will become 3 and b will become 5. I plus plus. I value is 7. 7 equal to 7. True. Then c equal to a plus b. This becomes 8. It will print 8. That is the seventh term. A equal to b. It will become 5. This will become 8. I plus plus. Value becomes 8. 8 less than equal to 7. False. Loop's end. And we are getting the desired answer. From 0 till 8. So this is how the Fibonacci program is working. So in this, the variable c is used to create the third digit. And a and b are the previous two digits. A and b are the previous two digits and c is the third digit. And every time you have to shift. Means if you are printing the first two, the next time you have to take the second and third. And next time third and fourth. And next time fourth and fifth. We are doing the shifting like this. A equal to b means b value becomes a and c value becomes b. So this is the program to print first n Fibonacci numbers. What if the value of n is 1? If value of n is 1, then we are going to print only 0. But here if n is 1, it will print 0 and 1. And I is 3. 3 less than equal to 1. It is false. So here there is a problem here. If n is 1, we are going to have some problem. What is the problem? you are printing first 2 even if the user is giving the value as 1, means only the first Fibonacci number. So here before printing A and B directly, we'll check if n is equal to 1, we'll only print A, else we'll print both A and B. So if n is 1, we'll print only A, and this for will always become false because the condition is not matching. If n is 2, it will print A and B. 2 less than equal to 3, false. Again this will not work, but we are printing both. And if it is 3, then it will print A and B, because it is not equal to 1, it will print A and B, and then the loop will work for one time. So only thing we added is if n equal to 1, then we'll print only A. If n is not equal to 1, other than 1, okay, then we'll print A and B. And if the loop is required, means if there is more than 2, then this loop will also work. Understood? Clear? So this program is very important. So using this program, you can do many other Fibonacci numbers, like add the first 5 Fibonacci numbers, or print all the Fibonacci numbers till 100. Okay, but this for loop remains the same. This is the main thing, that where we are creating the Fibonacci numbers. Clear? This is a very important program. You have to remember this. So next you can see there are many series based questions. Even Fibonacci is also a series question, and in that page number 37 you can see there are many more series questions. 36 is a series question, 37 is a series question, 38, there are many bits also, those are also series based questions. So all series questions have different logics. Means if you're solving a series question using one logic, that logic may not be used in the next series question. The series question you have to first create logic, and there are many series questions. There are unlimited number of series questions. So you have to think how to solve this series. It is pure mathematics. So out of all the series questions, I will be doing few of the important series questions for you. So now we will go to question number 38C. So in question number 38C, you can see that the series is 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 ... till n. So first I'll write the program, and then I'm going to explain you how to solve this series question. So first I'll create a class, chapter 6, question number 38C, public void int n. N is the last number. You can see in the question that it is 1, then 1 plus 2, then 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus ... So if it is 5, then it will go till 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Okay. Then I will create a for loop for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. So here we require two variables. One I will take s1 and another will be s equal to s plus s1. After completing the loop, we are going to print the final answer, which is present in s. So here s1 is to create the terms and s is to add the terms. So what is terms in this question? So actually this is one term, this is the second term, then first term, second term, this is the third one, this is the nth one. So there are n number of terms in this program. So the variable s1 is to create the terms, the first term, the second term, the third term. But you can see all the terms are also added. All the terms are added. This is done using the variable s. Let us see how this is working in the program. So we have I equal to 1, n, let the value of n be 5. So 1 less than equal to 5, true, it came inside. S1 equal to S1 plus I. Let us declare these variables also. Int S1 equal to 0, S equal to 0. In the starting there is nothing, that is 0. So S1 equal to S1 plus I, that is 0 plus 1, that is 1. So that is nothing but the first term. We got the first term. Then we are doing S equal to S plus S1. S equal to S plus S1, that is nothing but 0 plus 1, that is 1. So now when the first round of the loop is done, we have S1 equal to 1 and S also equal to 1. Now next time I value becomes 2, and in S1 you are adding the value of I, that is 2. So that is nothing but 1 is already there, 1 plus 2. Don't add it. I am not adding it now because if I don't add now, it will make more easier to understand. Okay, it will be 3, but don't add it now. So now S is S plus S1. 1 is already there. We'll add S1 to this. What is S1? It is nothing but 1 plus 2. It is nothing but 1 plus 2. And 1 plus 2 is what? It is the second term. In the question you can see 1 plus 2 is the second term. And we added the first term and also the second term. The next time I value becomes 3. So 1 plus 2 is already there. To that 3 will be added. So we'll get the third term. And here 1 plus 2 is already there. To that we'll add 1 plus 2 plus 3. That is nothing but the third term. Then 4 will come. 4 will be added here, and here we'll add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Then 5 will be added, we'll get the fifth term, and here it will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. This is how the program is done. So first one is to create the terms, second one is to add the terms. Okay, understood? Let us run this program. Let us give 3. So if I give 3, it will be 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. So we'll get the answer as 10. See, we are getting the answer as 10. So now you can move to question number 38D, which is 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus ... plus n factorial. 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial, like this till n factorial. Expand it. It is 1 is 1. 2 factorial is 1 into 2 plus 3 factorial is 1 into 2 into 3, like this. N factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 into ... into n. So if you compare question number 38C and D, you can see that instead of plus, here we have multiplication symbol. Here we have multiplication symbol. So what do you need to do? Instead of S1 equal to S1 plus I, you have to do S1 equal to S1 into I, multiplied I. So instead of plus sign, we have to give multiplication sign, and the program is done. Okay, and the program is done. So what do we need to do? Instead of plus, we will do multiply. But S1 is 0. So every time we multiply with 0, the answer will be 0. So instead of 0, we'll take 1. Instead of 0, here you have to take 1. So here we are going to create the terms, or you can say the factorials of each number, and the second one will be used to add those terms. Okay, this is generation of terms and this is addition of terms. So now let us move to another important series question, that is question number 38I. Here we have x1 factorial minus x2 2 factorial plus x3 3 factorial minus ... xn by n factorial. So here you can also give at x1. So loop is going like 1, 2, 3, 4 till n. But the main thing in this series is first it is plus, the first number is positive. You may give a sign, you may not give a sign, doesn't matter. Then negative, then positive, then negative, then again positive, negative, positive, negative. So how to create this positive, negative, different sign each time? So now we have to write a program to create this positive and negative thing also. This is also a very important program. How to create positive and negative alternatively. So if you also look into question number H, both are same question. H and I are both are same question. Only in H, all the signs are positive, and in I, it is positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative alternatively. So first what I am going to do, I will be solving H. And then I am going to modify so that I can solve question number 38I. So let us solve question number 38H first. So we'll create a class 638H. Public void DNM int n is the last term. We'll create a loop int I equal to 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. So the sum is s equal to s plus x to the power I by I factorial. So that it will be x1 by 1 factorial, x2 by 2 factorial, x3 by 3 factorial. So for power we need to do mat.pow x comma I divided by I factorial. But we cannot write factorial like this. So we need to create the factorial in another variable. Let it be f. So in f we are creating 1 factorial, 2 factorial, 3 factorial, and we are dividing it and finding the sum in the variable s. And finally, when the loop is complete, we are going to print the final value. Let us declare the new variables f equal to 1 and double s equal to 0.0. Let us run this. So let us find the sum of first 3 terms and let the value of x be 2. Then we should get the answer as 2 to the power 1 by 1 factorial plus 2 to the power 2 by 2 factorial plus 2 to the power 3 by 3 factorial. That is 2 plus 4 by 2 plus 8 by 6. So this is 2, this is also 2, and this is 1.33. So we should get the answer as 5.33. Let us check if we are getting the answer. See, you are getting 5.33. So our program is correct. So let us see what is happening in this program. So n is 3, I equal to 1, 1 less than equal to 3, true, f equal to f into I. F is 1 into I is also 1. We are getting 1. That is nothing but 1 factorial. S equal to s plus, s is 0 at starting, mat.pow 2 to the power 1, we'll get 2, 2 by 1, 2. So in s we have 2. I plus plus, I value becomes 2, 2 less than equal to 3, true. F into I, what is f? 1 into I, that is 2, we'll get 2. That is nothing but 2 factorial. Then now s equal to s plus 2 to the 2, that is 4, divided by f, that is 2. So we'll get the answer as 4. I plus plus, I value becomes 3. F into 3, that is 2 into 3, that is nothing but 3 factorial. So we have s equal to 4. To that we'll be adding x to the power 3, that is 2 to the 3, that is nothing but 8 divided by f, that is 6. 4 plus 1.33, we'll get 5.33. So we are getting our desired answer. So what to do for our next question, which is 38I? It is same as H, only instead of all positive, some are positive and some are negative. Means it is alternate, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. So you can see the first term is positive, second term is negative, third term is positive, fourth term is negative, and so on. Means odd terms are positive and even terms are negative. So here we are going to add, if I modulo 2 equal to 1 means nothing but odd, then it is positive, else it is negative. Means if it is odd term, then we are going to add, and if it is even term, we are going to subtract. Our job is done. This is the easiest way to do alternate, positive, negative. There are many more ways you can do it, but this is the easiest method to change the sign alternatively. First positive, then negative, then again positive, then again negative, then positive and negative, like this it will go on. So if it is odd, you have to add, and if it is even, then you have to subtract. Our program is done. It is so easy. Okay, understood? Now we are going to solve our last question of the day, question number 41, which came in the year 2009. And here I am not going to solve the whole program, but I am going to solve only the part of the program, that is the GCD part. Question 41, GCD. The full form is greatest common divisor of two integers is calculated by continued division method. Divide the larger number by the smaller number. The remainder then divides the previous divisor. The process is repeated till the remainder is 0. The divisor then results a GCD. So GCD is nothing but HCF. And in the previous class, I have already told you how to find HCF of two numbers. But here we are going to use a different formula, not that formula. If you use the formula I have already told you for this program it is wrong, because in this program it has asked you to use the continued division method formula. So now I am going to make you understand what is continued division method formula to find the GCD, greatest common divisor. So 12 and 6. So what is the HCF or the GCD here? We all know it is 6, because it's the largest factor, largest common factor, or the highest common factor which can divide both the integer values. GCD is the same thing, greatest common divisor, means the biggest number that can divide both the numbers. Divide means the remainder will be 0. So now how to solve this question? We'll solve according to the way it is written. So the question is GCD of two integer numbers. So you have two integer numbers, let it be A and B, is calculated by continued division method. Divide the larger number by the smaller number. Your first job is to divide the larger number with the smaller number. So which one is the larger and the smaller between A and B? We don't know. We have to find it using if statement. If A is greater than B, then we can say that the larger number L is A and the smaller number is B. Else, if it is false, then obviously the larger number is B and the smaller number is A. This is a first job. Okay, you have to find the larger and the smaller number. So after finding the larger number and smaller number, what you need to do? Divide the larger number by the smaller number. What you have to do? It is not telling you to check anything now. It is telling you to do. So here we are going to do it first, and then later we'll see if we need to check anything. So what you have to do? You have to divide the larger number by smaller number, and the remainder, it is talking about the remainder, means you have to do modulo division. And the remainder divides the previous divisor. So next time, the remainder then divides the previous divisor, means the next time what will happen? The remainder is going to divide the previous divisor. And what is the previous divisor? That is S. But next time L will become S and S will become R. So next time what will happen? L becomes S, so S becomes R, so it will be S modulo R. Next time it will be S modulo R. And this is going to continue. This thing is going to continue till the remainder is 0. Means once the remainder is 0, the loop will stop. means till it is not 0, the loop will continue. Till it is not 0, the loop will continue. Okay. So first it has asked you to divide the larger number by smaller number. Done. Then the remainder will divide the previous divisor. So what we'll do, L modulo S. Next time you cannot do L modulo S. You have already done it. But next time it is telling you that the remainder will divide the previous divisor. That is nothing but S. But in the formula we have already written L modulo S. We cannot change it. So what we'll do, we'll keep the value of S in L. This one. And we'll keep the value of R in S. That is this one. So automatically it will become S modulo R. Automatically L modulo S will become S modulo R, which we did in Fibonacci also, exchanging the values of variables. And this thing is going to continue till your remainder is not 0. Once it is 0, the loop will stop. And after this loop is over, you have to print a final output, your final answer. That is the GCD. And what is the GCD? The divisor is the GCD. And what is the divisor? S. But remember, you are putting the value of S in L. So you have to print L. After the loop, you have to print the value of L, which will be your GCD. L is your GCD after the loop is over. Means when the remainder becomes 0. So I have just given you the snippet of the program. Means how to do the GCD. First you have to find the larger and smaller. And then using this do while loop, you can find the GCD. And your answer is present in the variable L. You have to print after the loop is over. So this completes all the important programs of loop. So next class you have to solve from question number 35 to question number 42. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the discussion forum. And I am also going to share you the answer in the form of PDF. So till then, have a nice day. Thank you.